The new year has arrived and it's time to reveal my top picks for Skyrim mods going into 2025. There are quite a few here, so I'm going to fire through them fairly quickly when I can. So let's start with my favourite Skyrim mod of all time called Experience, which overhauls how your character gains experience by decoupling your overall player level from your skills, and instead gives you experience by completing a quest, clearing a dungeon, discovering new locations, or simply finishing a bunch of enemies off. This removes the over-reliance on leveling your skills and instead allows you to just play the game and promotes exploration. Different actions give you varying amounts of experience, so completing a quest will gain you 100 XP, but getting a kill will only grant you 1 or 2 XP. However, I highly recommend also getting the Experience MCM mod, which then allows you to edit these values to whatever you want, or completely disable them if you wish. Another mod that works great in tandem with Experience is the Atlas Map Markers mod, which adds an abundance of new notable locations to your map. For example, in cities and towns, you can include temples, shops, or important locations like the companion headquarters. This allows you to discover more locations to gain experience, as well as new points of interest that you can fast travel to for a little quality of life improvement. This mod also comes with an MCM where you can enable or disable certain locations that appear on your map. If you are looking for more simple quests to complete and gain experience, then we can't go past the Missives mod that will add a message board to all the major cities, allowing you to sign up for a new quest or two to complete. Each quest is fairly simple, ranging from clearing a bandit camp to fetching a lost item, and serves as a great source for some extra money, loot, or experience if you should need it. Moving on to one of the most important aspects of Skyrim, Immersion, where we have the mod called Dynamic Things Alternative. This lets you loot ingredients from static items. For example, you can now loot the tusk from an actual mammoth skull or from items hanging on the wall. This is fantastic for obtaining several ingredients and just makes sense in game. Coins of Interesting Nature is another must-have immersion mod that increases the variety of currency found across the world. It's kinda strange that you could find a septum in the pocket of a draga, but now with this mod you will find an ancient Nord Drakkar instead. Or in those Dwemer ruins, you will now find a new coin known as the Dwarven Njortwak. These new coins also have less value than a standard septum, so has the bonus effect of making it harder to accumulate wealth during your playthrough. Another immersion building mod is simply called More to Say, which adds more dialogue options to NPCs, so you can actually have more detailed conversations and get to know each character a little better, on top of adding some much needed personality. There are also some small gameplay additions, such as any priest being able to offer you the blessing of the divine, as well as some minor quest additions, such as being thrown in jail if you proclaim Ulfric as the rightful king in the Falkreath court. And it wouldn't be immersion without including the masterpiece Immersive Equipment Displays, which allows you to display unequipped items on your character or other NPCs rather than just your equipped items. This mod is highly configurable with an in-game menu that lets you adjust the position and location of each piece of equipment, as well as adding physics to said items so they jiggle around with your character as you move, adding true immersion to your Skyrim experience. Onto a few quality of life mods that I cannot play without. We have a mod called Instantly Skip Dialogue NG, which allows you to instantly skip any dialogue with no delay. Also, you can now skip the dialogue on those few occasions where you were forced to sit there and listen as the NPC slowly finish their sentence. Remember Lockpick Angle is another fantastic mod that remembers the angle at which your lockpick broke rather than resetting back to the default position. This does make locks a touch easier to pick, but it also just makes sense as you wouldn't suddenly forget where you had your lockpick in the first place, a very simple but great change. Another great mod is called QuickLoot IE, which is both a fantastic quality of life and UI mod all rolled into one that lets you loot containers by just looking at them rather than having to interact with and go into your inventory. This speeds up the looting process and makes your gameplay feel a lot more smooth. Sticking with UI mods is a small visual change called Coloured and Animated Celtic Icons for SkyUI. This mod will simply change the icons in your inventory and spell menus with an animated and coloured alternative that brings a touch of flair to your UI. This change is purely aesthetic, but is a special one nonetheless. For one of the greatest UI mods ever released, we have better third-person selection, which has revolutionized third-person gameplay by introducing a proximity feature when interacting with items in third person. Previously, you needed pinpoint accuracy to select or pick up anything, which was extremely cumbersome and often resulted in switching to first person. But now with this mod, playing and staying in third person for your entire playthrough is significantly more realistic. One mod that blends between the UI and visual aspects of Skyrim is the Security Overhaul lock variations and all of its add-ons. This will visually transform the pick locking interface, so every chest or door you interact with will have a unique lock design instead of seeing the same vanilla style all over again. For example, a dwarven chest will now look like a set of cogs, or a door at the College of Winterhold will have a glowing crystal. Next is one of my favourite visual overhauls, known as the Temple of the Ancients, which will reimagine the ancient Nordic dungeons around Skyrim with a beautiful rock texture and ancient symbols inscribed on the walls. Ever since discovering this mod, it has stayed locked in my load order for its overall quality and uniqueness compared to other dungeon overhauls. Another one of my favourite visual mods of all time is the mod called Embers XD, which overhauls all the fire sources found in Skyrim, including campfires, fire pits, and even the magic spells you cast. This mod is a massive improvement over the vanilla fire and is an absolute must-have in my opinion. For a very small visual detail, we have the pressure plate blending mod, which stops the pressure plate traps from sticking out like a sore thumb and blends them in with the surrounding by matching it with your other textures. This is a really great mod that will make you actually watch where you step when exploring a dungeon. Freak's Floral Fields is a relatively new grass overhaul, but one that is quickly becoming one of the best. By combining a myriad of different grasses, flowers and plants, this mod makes every landscape of Skyrim feel extremely diverse and unique from one another. There are also several options in the installation foam mod that will let you choose between different styles and colour of grass. A fantastic all-in-one grass overhaul. In regards to quest mods, there is one that I consider essential that expands upon the College of Winterhold questline in an immersive manner by introducing starter magic lessons, so you actually have to learn magic from each school before continuing on and becoming the Archmage. Originally, all you had to do was complete one test and learn a couple of spells, then you could complete the questline barely using any magic at all. This mod changes that, making it feel like an actual college where magic is taught and you have to prove you are somewhat competent at performing spells. Moving on to some movement mods is a new one that is quickly becoming one of my favourites called Phantom Horse, which lets you summon a horse as you sprint and then move at a much faster pace. The summoned horse is solely for movement as it despawns when you stop sprinting, but is incredibly convenient, letting you traverse the landscape with ease, and is the sole reason I have started utilising the Skyrim horse more than ever. Then we have two absolute must-have movement mods, starting with True Directional Movement, which detaches the camera from your character and gives you full 360-degree movement, similar to many modern games, compared to vanilla Skyrim, where the camera was locked behind your back. It also adds similar features to horseback gameplay, making it far easier to play the game on horseback, and includes even more features, such as the lock-on ability, allowing you to lock onto your target in combat. This mod has single-handedly revolutionized Skyrim gameplay and is a must-have in 2025 and beyond. The other must-have mod is called Better Jumping, which again adds new features to Skyrim movement. Most importantly, the ability to jump while you sprint, something you couldn't do in vanilla Skyrim, or the option to perform double or even triple jumps if you wish. You can also adjust the jump height, making for an incredible all-in-one jumping overhaul mod. With all these fantastic new movement mods, you will also want to look at your combat, and Rapid Bow Combo is a fantastic archery overhaul that adds several unique shots to Skyrim, including rapid shots where you can quickly fire off arrows, great for close quarter combat, and power shots where you can hold down the draw key to add more power and damage to your arrow. However, most importantly, this mod includes a bow melee option, so you can perform up-close dagger attacks without having to switch weapons, allowing for seamless melee and ranged gameplay. Another fantastic archery mod is called Locational Archery Damage, which adjusts the amount of damage you do depending on where your arrow hits the target, so a headshot will do more damage than a body shot. Armor type now also plays a role, with heavy armor reducing or sometimes negating archery damage. This adds another layer to your archery skill and applies to both the player and NPCs, so is balanced across the entire game. Blocking is another important aspect of combat, and the combination of the Maxu block overhaul and dynamic block hit mods create a perfect blocking system where you and NPCs will react differently to certain attacks. How it works is blocking a normal attack will make you flinch or stagger a little, a power attack will cause you to be pushed back a little more, and if you are under 30% health or stamina, blocking a power attack will send you back a few meters. This again adds another layer to Skyrim combat by punishing the blocker and adding a sort of stagger feature without it becoming too overbearing. For a little bit of flair in combat, dynamic impact/effects is a great choice, adding on-hit effects depending on what enemy you are attacking. So a human will spray a splash of blood, draugrs a puff of dust, insects or bugs some green ooze, and metal enemies will create sparks. This effect is purely aesthetic, but a very nice one at that. Now, with all these amazing movement and combat mods, another mod that you must have is called Smoothcam, which allows you to adjust nearly every aspect of the third-person camera. All of these settings are adjustable in a comprehensive MCM, but if you'd rather just let someone else do the work for you, there are a huge number of Smoothcam presets available to use, including my very own, which I will link down below. Moving on to enhancing Skyrim magic, my most essential spell mod is the classic Forgotten Magic Redone, which like many other magic mods adds several new spells to the game, but has the bonus feature of introducing a progression system on top of that. How this works, as you use one of the spells, you gain experience and eventually a perk point, which can then be used to upgrade that spell, adding a unique effect. This is a fantastic concept that allows you to progress through the game with several of your favourite spells and upgrade them alongside your character. Another magic mod that I cannot play without is Frozen Electrocuted Combustion, which adds on-death effects to enemies that die by your spells. So corpses will burn when hit with fire magic, freeze and shatter when hit with frost magic, and become shocked when killed by lightning magic. A great visual only magic mod that is also a little gruesome. For your character and NPCs, there is a combination of two mods, Vanilla Hair Remake and Vanilla Hair Salt and Wind, that I recommend to overhaul Skyrim's hair. These two mods will totally transform the lifeless and flat vanilla hair into a much more aesthetically pleasing alternative. There are also bonus physics options, so the vanilla hairstyles will bounce and move around with your character. Regarding armor and weaponry, the all-in-one Sentinel equipment overhaul ticks all the boxes by both integrating a vast collection of new armor and weapons into the game for NPCs to use, as well as special armor sets for certain factions to wear, as well as allowing these new armor and weapons to be crafted or looted by you the player to use as well. This mod is fantastic, adding a ton of variety and new armor to the game. Lastly are a small collection of immersion mods by the author Mayhail, which add or enhance friendly little creatures to the world. These include chickens and roosters in almost every settlement, pigeons wandering around the major townships, and sea turtles floating on the shores of the Great Ocean. An amazing set of world building mods that add some much needed life to Skyrim. And that's it for my must-have essential Skyrim mods to use in 2025. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again next time. Happy modding everyone!